Appeal to popularity. 12. Appeal to popularity. An appeal to popularity, also known as _argumentum ad populum or bandwagon fallacy, is a logical fallacy where a claim is asserted as true or good simply because a large number of people believe it. This type of flawed reasoning suggests that popularity equates to truth, which is incorrect, as the validity of a claim is not determined by how many people believe it. Instead, appeals to popularity exploit the bandwagon effect, leveraging the innate human desire to conform or belong to a group. How it works. The fallacy operates by shifting focus from the evidence for a claim to the sheer number of people who accept it. Claim: X is true. Good because many people believe X. Flaw: the truth or goodness of X is independent of the number of people who believe X. Why it's a fallacy. Popular opinion is not a reliable indicator of truth. Misinformation. A widely held belief can still be completely false, as seen in historical examples where the majority of people believed in things that were later debunked. Irrelevant support. Public opinion is insufficient or irrelevant to establishing the truth of a claim in most cases, according to study. Examples. Products. Many people are buying the new smartphone, so it must be the best one on the market. Politics. Since the majority of people are voting for this candidate, they must be the right choice. General beliefs. Everyone believes in astrology, so it must have some truth to it. How to counter it. To counter an appeal to popularity, you should provide evidence. Focus on factual data and research rather than relying solely on consensus. Encourage independent thinking. Prompt your audience to think critically about the underlying reasoning for the popular belief. Use counter examples. Show how past widely held beliefs were later proven false to highlight the fragility of arguments based on popularity. Most people approve of X. So, I should approve of X, too. Since I approve of X, X must be true. Appeal to emotion. I approve of X. Therefore, X is true. On this view, in an appeal to popularity, the claim is accepted because most people approve of the claim. In the case of an appeal to emotion, the claim is accepted because the individual approves of the claim because of the emotion of approval he feels in regards to the claim. Examples of appeal to emotion. The new power tangerine computer gives you the power you need. If you buy one, people will envy your power. They will look up to you and wish they were just like you. You will know the true joy of power. Tangerine power. The new ultra-skinny diet will make you feel great. No longer be troubled by your weight. Enjoy the admiring stares of the opposite sex. Revel in your new freedom from fat. You will know true happiness if you try our diet. Bill goes to hear a politician speak. The politician tells the crowd about the evils of the government and the need to throw out the people who are currently in office. After hearing the speech, Bill is full of hatred for the current politicians. Because of this, he feels good about getting rid of the old politicians and accepts that it is the right thing to do because of how he feels. 12. Fallacy. Appeal to popularity. Also known as ad populum. Description of appeal to popularity. The appeal to popularity has the following form. Most people approve of X. Have favorable emotions towards X. Therefore, X is true. The basic idea is that a claim is accepted as being true simply because most people are favorably inclined towards the claim. More formally, the fact that most people have favorable emotions associated with the claim is substituted in place of actual evidence for the claim. A person falls prey to this fallacy if he accepts a claim as being true simply because most other people approve of the claim. It is clearly fallacious to accept the approval of the majority as evidence for a claim. For example, suppose that a skilled speaker managed to get most people to absolutely love the claim that 1 + 1 = 3. It would still not be rational to accept this claim simply because most people approved of it. After all, mere approval is no substitute for a mathematical proof. At one time people approved of claims such as the world is flat. Humans cannot survive at speeds greater than 25 miles per hour, the sun revolves around the earth, but all these claims turned out to be false. This sort of reasoning is quite common and can be quite an effective persuasive device. Since most humans tend to conform with the views of the majority, convincing a person that the majority approves of a claim is often an effective way to get him to accept it. Advertisers often use this tactic when they attempt to sell products by claiming that everyone uses and loves their products. In such cases, they hope that people will accept the purported approval of others as a good reason to buy the product. This fallacy is vaguely similar to such fallacies as appeal to belief and appeal to common practice. However, in the case of an ad populum, the appeal is to the fact that most people approve of a claim. In the case of an appeal to belief, the appeal is to the fact that most people believe a claim. In the case of an appeal to common practice, the appeal is to the fact that many people take the action in question. This fallacy is closely related to the appeal to emotion fallacy, as discussed in the entry for that fallacy. Examples of appeal to popularity. My fellow Americans, there has been some talk that the government is overstepping its bounds by allowing police to enter people's homes without the warrants traditionally required by the Constitution. However, these are dangerous times, and dangerous times require appropriate actions. I have in my office thousands of letters from people who let me know, in no uncertain terms, that they heartily endorse the war against crime in these United States. Because of this overwhelming approval, it is evident that the police are doing the right thing. I read the other day that most people really like the new gun control laws. I was sort of suspicious of them, but I guess if most people like them, then they must be okay. Jill and Jane have some concerns that the rules their sorority has set are racist in character. Since Jill is a decent person, she brings her concerns up in the next meeting. The president of the sorority assures her that there is nothing wrong with the rules, since the majority of the sisters like them. Jane accepts this ruling, but Jill decides to leave the sorority. 12. Appeal to popularity. Most people approve of X. So, I should approve of X, too. Since I approve of X, X must be true. This sort of reasoning is quite common and can be quite an effective persuasive device. Since most humans tend to conform with the views of the majority, convincing a person that the majority approves of a claim is often an effective way to get him to accept it. Advertisers often use this tactic when they attempt to sell products by claiming that everyone uses and loves their products. In such cases, they hope that people will accept the purported approval of others as a good reason to buy the product. This fallacy is closely related to the appeal to emotion, appeal to consequences of a belief, appeal to common practice. If major always right, how about Christianity 2.1 billion 33.0%? Islam 1.5 billion 21. Hinduism 900 million 14. Buddhism 376 million 6. Raphael painting could not sold popularity in 1490s, because major people do not understand his paintings. 13. Fallacy. Appeal to ridicule. An appeal to ridicule is a fallacy where an argument is dismissed by presenting it as absurd, ridiculous, or humorous, rather than addressing its merits. This tactic attempts to discredit an opponent's view by making it seem silly or unworthy of serious consideration, thereby distracting from the core issues and avoiding a genuine counter-argument. How it works. Mocking the idea. The person using this fallacy makes fun of an opponent's argument or beliefs to make them appear foolish. Ignoring the substance. Instead of providing evidence or logical reasons to refute the argument, the focus is on mockery and humor. Misrepresentation. Often, the argument being ridiculed is a distorted or exaggerated version of the original point, making it easier to attack. Example: the sky is blue. Ha! That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Comparing a person's belief in God to believing in Santa Claus to make it seem like a childish fantasy. Why it's a fallacy. Mocking a claim does not prove it is false. An argument's truth or falsity is determined by evidence and logic, not by how laughable it might seem. Also known as appeal to mockery, the horse laugh. Description of appeal to ridicule. The appeal to ridicule is a fallacy in which ridicule or mockery is substituted for evidence in an argument. This line of reasoning has the following form. X, which is some form of ridicule, is presented, typically directed at the claim. Therefore claim C is false. This sort of reasoning is fallacious because mocking a claim does not show that it is false. This is especially clear in the following example. 1 + 1 = 2. That's the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. It should be noted that showing that a claim is ridiculous through the use of legitimate methods, such as a non-fallacious argument, can make it reasonable to reject the claim. One form of this line of reasoning is known as a reductio ad absurdum. Reducing to absurdity. In this sort of argument, the idea is to show that a contradiction, a statement that must be false, or an absurd result follows from a claim. For example, Bill claims that a member of a minority group cannot be a racist. However, this is absurd. Think about this. White males are a minority in the world. Given Bill's claim, it would follow that no white males could be racists. Hence, the Klan, Nazis, and white supremacists are not racist organizations. Since the claim that the Klan, Nazis, and white supremacists are not racist organizations is clearly absurd, it can be concluded that the claim that a member of a minority cannot be a racist is false. Examples of appeal to ridicule. Sure, my worthy opponent claims that we should lower tuition, but that is just laughable. Support the era. Sure. When the women start paying for the drinks. Ha, ha, those wacky conservatives. They think a strong military is the key to peace.